I didn't take the kosher food because, oh, the couscous. I had the couscous. Otherwise, it was not very tasty. In any case, it was very painful reading the Palestine papers, but there was one surprise. And here I'm being very serious. It really did come as a shock to me. Palestinians were doing everything to try to resolve this conflict with their dignity intact. We'll do whatever you want, just give us something here. And they produced a map. Unfortunately, I don't have a good slide of it yet, but I'll give you the best I have. So, just this way? Oh, this way, okay. Now, here is the map. It's a very interesting map. This is the only thing, if you're going to walk away with from what I had to say, remember this. The Palestinians said, look, we can create a map, or we're offering you a map, which gives us basically a clean West Bank. It's clean. Just these little areas here in black. It's 1.5% of the West Bank. 1.5%. But the 1.5%, look over here, it allows Israel to keep 300,000 of the settlers, or 63% of the settlers. They want compensation for that 1.5%, and they give the exact thing. But you can create a map still now, it is possible to create a map that enables Israel to keep well over half of its settlers in place and still give a clean West Bank. Now, I'll wait to hear from you later, when we're done, because I see you have a skeptical look in your face, so I want to hear what you have to say. But that, to me, it's a reasonable proposal. It's a generous proposal. It's a possible proposal. It's something to work with. Now you might say, okay, but that still leaves 200,000 or so settlers, which is true. But then you have to also see other aspects. Quickly going through it, number one, most settlers in the West Bank are what are called quality of life settlers. That is to say, they're not crazy Jews from Brooklyn, mostly from my neighborhood, Ocean Park. They just want a good life. Israel gave all of these subsidies, mortgages, education, everything to try to bring the settlers to the West Bank. Most of them are quality of life settlers. And the poll data is inconsistent, but some polls show, some but not all, that as many as 83% of the settlers say, just financially compensate us and we'll go home. Just give us something reasonable to compensate. I mean, the Israeli government. I'm not paying that. You made a mistake. You want to live in our legal territory. You get yourself out of that mess, but not out of my pocket. So, okay, still, it's possible. About 83%, according to some polls, say they're willing to leave. And then, if you ask about the rest, well, the rest is very simple. Yeah, I'm right at the end. The rest is very simple. Okay, you may have around 10,000 or several thousand crazy Jews who want to stay. Fine. They want to stay. Let them stay. All you have to do, let's say in Hebron, there are 160,000 crazy Muslims. And there are 400 fanatical Jewish settlers in Hebron. All you have to do is say, guys, you want to stay? Stay. But the army is leaving. You stay with them. As the former head of the Shin Bet said, when we leave them out there alone, they'll come back. And how they'll come. Yes. It's not an insurmountable problem. It is resolvable. And that's where I'm going to leave you in these remarks. There are no possibilities, political possibilities, to resolve the conflict. There is a reasonable, principled way to resolve the conflict. Everybody agrees on how to resolve the conflict. And now the challenge is to get people to act on what everybody knows is right and wrong in the Israel-Palestine conflict. And that's my challenge, and it's the challenge of everybody in this room. I think if we can agree on the goal, if we organize, if we get our act together, if we put forth a clear solution, a principled solution, a reasonable solution, I do believe, I think we can, for once and for all, put this conflict behind us and achieve a reasonably just and reasonably lasting peace in the Israel-Palestine conflict. But now there are no longer any excuses. The time is now. I have zero tolerance, I'm speaking personally, zero patience for anybody who tells the Palestinians now that they should be patient. Now I'm reading this disgusting report from the ICG, the International Crisis Group, which is supposed to be liberal. And they say we have to give the Palestinians one little more small step, little baby steps, so this can go on through eternity. And the only thing I could think of, I kept thinking of Reverend Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail, where all those white liberals kept saying to King, don't be so impatient. You can't get everything overnight. You have to take things slowly, step by step, baby steps. And you know, he said, how long? How long? And that's how I feel about this. How long? The Palestinians are putting forth a reasonable proposal. It's a principled proposal. They've bent over backwards to accommodate Israeli concerns. The time is now. We don't want any more baby steps. We want this conflict to end and enable the people of Palestine to live just like everyone else. I'm tired of hearing whether or not the Gazans have their essentials met. What do you mean, essentials? Everybody else in the world is entitled to luxuries. People at this school, you get a cafeteria. I don't think a person in Gaza, with the exception of Ms. Gaza, has ever seen so many different foods in their life. They're only entitled to essentials. They're humanitarian basics. And if their basics are being met, that's fine. No problem. Why just the basics? Why can't they live like everyone else? And why should they have to wait any longer? No more baby steps, no more half steps. Let's end the occupation now. If we work together, I think we can do it. Thank you.